printable, fillable, or digital. Choosing the right format for your workout and meal trackers. The wrong file format is why half your tracker buyers stop using it by day 3. Most creators building a workout or meal tracker spend their energy on the columns: sets, reps, macros, water intake, mood check-ins. Almost none of them spend 5 minutes deciding what file format the buyer will actually open it in. And that single decision is doing more to determine whether the tracker gets used for a week or for 3 months than any column ever will. A gorgeous 40-page PDF that requires printing on a home inkjet is dead on arrival for someone who logs meals from their phone on a subway commute. A fillable form that only opens correctly in one PDF reader looks broken to the 70% of buyers who tap it open on mobile Safari. Format isn't packaging, it's the product. Here's how to actually pick. Why format determines whether the tracker gets used at all. A tracker's entire value proposition is repeated use. One meal logged once does nothing, but 30 days logged builds a pattern someone can actually act on. That means the format has to survive contact with a real routine. Sweaty hands at the gym, a 5-minute lunch break, a Sunday meal prep session with a laptop open. If the format fights the routine, the buyer doesn't complain or ask for a refund, they just quietly stop opening the file. You'll never see that churn in your sales numbers, only in the reviews you don't get and the referrals that never happen. Getting this right up front costs you an afternoon of decision-making. Getting it wrong costs you the second sale from every unhappy first-time buyer. The 3 formats side by side. There isn't a universally best format. There's a best format for a specific logging habit. Here's how the 3 main options actually compare once you get past the surface-level pros and cons. The 5-second test. Before you finalize a format, imagine the buyer's actual next log entry happening in real life. If you can't picture exactly where their thumb or pen is in that moment, you haven't picked a format yet. You've picked a look. Printable. Still the right call for a specific buyer. Printable trackers get dismissed as old-fashioned, but they're the correct answer for a real and large segment. People who want their tracker somewhere they'll physically see it without opening an app. A meal tracker taped inside a kitchen cabinet or a workout log clipped to a gym bag works precisely because it doesn't compete with a phone's 50 other notifications. The trade-off is real, though. Printable-only trackers require the buyer to own a printer, have ink, and actually print multiple copies for a multi-week challenge, which is friction you're putting entirely on them after they've already paid. If you sell printable, make peace with designing for black and white home printers, test it. A gorgeous full-bleed color background can eat someone's entire ink cartridge, and always include a note on page 1 about recommended paper size and whether it's designed to print single or double-sided. Fillable PDFs. The format most people default to, and its real limits. Fillable PDF forms feel like the obvious upgrade. No printer, type directly into the fields, done. In practice, they're the format most likely to disappoint a buyer, because PDF form rendering is wildly inconsistent across apps. A form that looks perfect in Adobe Acrobat can show blank fields in Apple's Preview, misalign on mobile Safari, or refuse to save changes in a free reader app entirely. If you're building fillable trackers, test the actual file in at least 3 environments before you list it. Desktop Acrobat, a phone's default PDF viewer, and Google Drive's built-in preview. Skip that test, and you'll get support messages that all say some version of "the boxes don't work," which is really just a compatibility issue with fixable formatting. Small font sizes and tiny tap targets on a phone screen are the most common culprit. Spreadsheet trackers. The format for people who want the math done for them. A Google Sheets or Excel-based tracker is the right call the moment a buyer cares about trends rather than single entries. Running weekly calorie averages, a strength progression chart across 12 weeks, a macro breakdown that updates itself as they type. This is the format with the highest perceived value per file. Because the buyer is paying for the formulas and layout logic, not just a grid of empty boxes they could draw themselves. It's also the format most likely to get reused daily on a phone, since Google Sheets mobile app handles small screen data entry far better than any PDF form does. The trade-off is a slightly higher barrier on first open. Buyers need a free Google or Microsoft account, and a small number will email you confused about making a copy versus editing the original shared file. Solve that with one clear instructional page or a short screen recording linked in the file, rather than assuming it's obvious. Nobody stops using a tracker because the columns were wrong. They stop because opening it became a chore. Matching format to buyer, not to your own preference. The most common mistake here isn't picking a bad format. It's picking the format the creator personally prefers and assuming the buyer logs the same way. If you're a spreadsheet person, everything you build defaults to Sheets, even for an audience of gym floor lifters who genuinely want a laminated card, not a laptop. Before you finalize a format, ask 3 questions about your actual buyer. Where physically are they when they log, gym, kitchen, commute, desk? What device is in their hand at that exact moment? And do they want a running number, totals, trends, or just a record they can glance at later? Those 3 answers point almost automatically at Printable, Fillable, or Spreadsheet. And if you genuinely can't tell, that's the strongest signal to sell more than one format in the same listing rather than guessing wrong for half your audience. Picture the buyer's exact next log entry, location, device, hand-free or not. If printable, test on a standard home inkjet in black and white, notepaper size on page 1. If fillable, PDF, test the actual file in Desktop Acrobat, a phone's default viewer, and Google Drive Preview. If spreadsheet, add a 1-page, make a copy first instruction so buyers don't edit your master file. Check whether auto-calculated totals or trend charts would meaningfully raise the value of the product. Decide whether to sell one format or bundle 2 to 3 formats as a higher-priced option. Write your product description around the logging habit. Log from your phone in 20 seconds, not the file type. Turning format choice into more revenue, not just less churn. Once you've matched format to habit, there's a straightforward upsell sitting right there. Sell the bundle. A single tracker product with printable, fillable, and spreadsheet versions included at a modest premium over the single format price gives indecisive buyers permission to grab all 3 instead of guessing. And it raises your average order value without a single hour of new design work, since your packaging files you've already built. This is exactly the kind of decision that's easy to test cheaply once your storefront is live. List the bundle alongside the single format version and let real buyers vote with their wallets over a couple of weeks. If you haven't set that storefront up yet, it takes minutes to start free and open your store fan page where all 3 versions can live as one product with instant, automatic delivery. No manual emailing of files after every sale. It's also worth checking what a well-organized product page for exactly this kind of file bundle looks like before you build your own listing. A live example store shows how creators lay out multi-file digital products so buyers immediately understand what they're getting, and browsing the blog more broadly turns up other format and pricing decisions worth stealing before launch day rather than after. Key takeaways. Printable PDFs win for people who log by hand and want a physical, visible habit trigger. Think fridge doors and gym bags, not phones. Fillable PDF forms are the middle ground. No printer needed, but they still feel like a worksheet and travel badly to small phone screens. Spreadsheet-style digital trackers, Google Sheets Excel, win for anyone who wants auto-calculated totals, multi-week trends, or to log from a phone daily. Match the format to where the buyer actually logs. Bathroom scale mornings, gym floor, or lunch break, not to what looks best in your product photos. Selling more than one format of the same tracker is a legitimate way to raise average order value without building a new product from scratch. Start your creator store free at store.fan.